Um, I'm just curious. I have every ailment, if you want to call it that I've ever experienced has always been extremely minor. And I have this thing in my shoulder that I couldn't even say it hurts, really. It's just a sensation, and it's been there for 10 years, maybe more. Comes and goes. And I'm just curious, what happens is when it happens, I hear you say, don't worry, it'll get bigger. And I think, what is it trying to tell me? And is that important? Do I need to uncover what it's trying to tell me?
We wouldn't spend too much time trying to uncover it, because in that process, it usually does get bigger. But of course, in the context of this conversation, it is sort of wanting to know that. So we're just going to say something to you, and this really fits in perfectly with everything that we've been talking about here today. Your exposure to that experience has caused you to expect it. You expect it. In other words, you just expect it. Anything that's been hanging around that long, you expect it. You expect it. It's there, you observe it, you expect it. So you're reacting to it. It's there, you're reacting to it, but you're not thinking otherwise about it. So let's think otherwise about it for a minute. In other words, when you say, every ailment I've ever had has been very light, well, that speaks to your expectation too, and that's really a positive thing. So when you say, I have this nagging thing, we want to say, accurately, then you have this nagging vibration. You have this nagging thought. So then you say, well, do I need to uncover it? And we say, could it be as simple as just awareness of a shoulder that is uncomfortable? It could be that simple, and probably is, otherwise it would have been getting bigger. So when you feel it, what's the thought you think?
I wish I could figure this out.
And how's that working out for you?
Terribly.
I wish I could figure this out. And what is the true sentiment behind that? I wish I knew what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
I wish I could figure out what I'm doing wrong. So sort of like the relationship that we were talking about too. And you're not alone in this. It's why we started in the very strong, rampaging, harping way that we did earlier today, is that most people are focused upon what is and reacting to it. So you have to find a way that instead of reacting, you are proactively feeling about your body. Now, here's the thing, and this really speaks to you as we were playing with these money cards, and we were suggesting that when you try to fix something from outside the vortex, you get nowhere. It just practices the pattern. Can you hear that? And when do you think that you most often consider this subject?
When it happens.
100% of the time when it hurts. So what you just said is 100% of the time I approach my discomfort when I'm having it from outside the vortex. Don't you just love it?
Yeah.
100%. I put 100% of my energy into worrying about what this is about from outside the vortex. So now let's use the analogy of the cards in the way that we offer them. So let's say that you are having a wonderful physical moment. It could be a sensual moment. It could be a moment that you're swimming. It could be a moment that you're lying in a comfortable place with the sun shining on your face, a comfortable moment in your body, and you're feeling glad to be alive. So now this is your proactive moment. I have such a wonderful body, and the cells of my body are so responsive to my good feeling. And I just love knowing that they know what to do. I love my good feeling body. I'm breathing deeply. I'm feeling good. I'm moving easily. In other words, just accentuating in your mind the aspects of your body from inside the vortex. That's how you shift the vibration. You proactively, deliberately shift the vibrational attitude that you have about your body. So now your shoulder might hurt, and let's say it hurts 3 or 4 times a day, but you could spend way more time than that inside the vortex looking for a moment. Jerry and Esther have really been getting the hang of this, and so they'll find themselves in a moment in a restaurant, or sitting off the side of the road to take a picture of something, or in the middle of a conversation where something feels particularly good, and they'll say, oh, let's back up and let's see if we can ferret out all of the reasons why this moment in time feels this good. Is it what we're smelling from the kitchen? Yeah, it's part of it. Is it the ambiance of this room? That's part of it. Is it because we just got the twice monthly recording finished and got it sent off and it felt so good to do it? Well, that's part of it. Why do I feel so good right now is the operative question. Why do I feel so good right now? Why do I feel so good right now? That's the question that you want to ask over and over and over and over. That's proactively shifting the vibration. And it won't take much of that at all. And one day you'll say, that just went away. Oh, I didn't even notice that it had gone away. But when you stop keeping it active, it has to go away. Because only what is active stays.
Great.
So in the same way, pesky traits of your lover or pesky aspects of your body, same thing. When you proactively focus upon the aspects that aren't pesky and train your own vibration into letting those be dominant, then that has to be your experience.
And so when you find yourself not doing it, you just say, this isn't the time to work on this. That now is the time to go.
That's really the message of this gathering today. We'll speak it here in a very clear statement. Do all of your deliberate, affirming, scripting, creative, goal-setting work after you're sure you're in the vortex.
Okay.
So that you affirm the vibration you mean to affirm, so that you don't keep sore things sore for 10 years.
Yeah. Thanks. Great. Thank you very much.
Does being deliberate about what you want feel hard to you? The reason we ask this of you is because we want you to reflect as we are moving forward today on this very important law-based knowledge that we hold. If you will make it a higher priority to feel your way forward, to feel into the vortex, you'll discover that then your thoughts will gravitate around that vibrational set point, and it won't feel hard to you. It's only hard to think this thought when this thought's active. And the reason it's hard to think this better feeling thought when this sore shoulder thought is active is because law of attraction's not helping you out at all. Law of attraction's dishing up to you thoughts that are in the vicinity of what's active. So you can sort of make an end run around this by deciding that you care how you feel, by acknowledging that the larger part of you feels better, by contemplating the possibility that this vortex exists, by contemplating the possibility that not only does it exist, but there's good stuff with your name on it in there swirling around with cooperative components, and just decide that you're going to just risk it and be happy for a little while. We know it's a really big price to pay. There's that sarcastic thing that never works for us. We just want you to consider the leverage of feeling your way in and then attempting to think. When you think before you get in there and then you say, oh, this thought doesn't feel good, I think I'll try to change it, it's really hard to do. But if you wake up and you feel pretty good and you go in the vortex and you milk it, in other words, if you would just make this one simple decision today, I'm going to compliment as often as I can and praise as often as I can and focus upon positive aspects as much as I can, and I'm going to complain as little as possible. I'm going to point out errors and things going wrong as little as possible. In other words, just the difference between deciding that you're going to praise rather than criticize or compliment rather than complain. Say to yourself, any word that is a complaining word, I'm going to let out. Esther will be talking along and all of a sudden she'll just be quiet and Jerry will say, I thought you were going to say something, and Esther will say, it's better this way. It's better this way. In other words, just don't say it. Just don't say it. And as you stop saying it, it'll be less active. And as you stop engaging other people in conversation about it, it will be less active. Esther said, I am not going to complain about this anymore. And Jerry said, well, complaining about complaining is still complaining. And Esther said, you're so pretty. In other words, you just can't work your way out of that, can you? You just have to decide that you're going to find a way of feeling good about whatever it is that you're living in your life. And when you find a way of feeling good, it will resolve in a way that is pleasing to you. But if you keep focusing on it, once it gets off, it will just get more off and more off and more off and more off and more off until finally you come to a place where you make a decision that you're going to be the proactive, deliberate creator of your own experience, which means you're going to direct your thoughts into alignment with who you really are and what you really want and what you've already created, so that you then can live happily ever after. And not just because the manifestations catch up, but because it feels good to appreciate and it feels lousy to complain. Yes.
Hi. I have this, just thinking about, I mean, this has been amazing today, but an issue around being too selfish. And I guess the thing that my question has to do with being, I mean, I understand it's okay to be selfish, but in relationship.
Well, can you be otherwise? Can you see other than through the eyes of self?
No.
Well, then that's what selfish is. Do you think that you should advocate for someone else?
No.
It's all right to advocate for them, but you know why you do it? Because you want them to benefit, and that's selfish. In other words, when you see someone suffering, you put an improved version of them into your vortex. And when you look at them suffering, you deny your own improved version, and you don't feel good. And then you feel disempowered because they won't clean up their act. But it's really your job to see them in the improved way. Otherwise, you can't selfishly satisfy. You see, you keep expanding, and the true definition of selfish is to take this physical self that I call me, myself, and I, to take this physical me over here with the rest of me, to get myself together with me, to line up with all that I am. And that is the best definition of selfish that we could give, but it is also the best definition of alignment that we could give, or of empowerment that we could give. You see what we're getting at?
Mm-hmm.
It really helps a lot when you accept that you and every other person that you know is selfishly oriented. And as sure as water flows downhill, they are going to gravitate toward their own selfish interests. And when you do the same, which means when you are utterly selfish, do you know what that means? Even though that rascal is selfishly pleasing himself and maybe even doing something that feels inappropriate to you, the true definition of selfishness means you won't let yourself look at that person in a derogatory enough way that it separates you from the way the source within you sees it. So, can you hear us when we say that if you could really accomplish the ultimate selfishness, you would be so aligned with the source within you that you would love them all? Somehow selfish doesn't sound so bad when we're talking about someone who loves instead of hates, you see? Selfish means seeing through the eyes of source, aligning with the wholeness of who I am.
Yeah, I get that. And I guess I feel like I can be really feeling amazingly well and really good. And then I'm with my partner and I just am made wrong for as if I'm not giving enough attention to her, or I'm not doing the things that she wants me to do.
Well, you could be compliant to that, in other words, but you would not serve her, because anytime you behave in a way that fills another's outside the vortex neediness, you don't help them, because she can't round up enough people to be selfless to keep her happy. In other words, now she needs everybody to behave like that, and you're the only schmuck who's willing to. We mean that in the nicest way. But isn't that what your marriage vows say? I promise to love you no matter how foolish and irritating you are. In sickness and in health, in aggravation and in grief, I'll be there for you. I won't like it, but I'll be there for you, you say.